YouTube, how's it going? The Goat House is back with the easiest 7-round mock draft I've ever done in my life because the Seattle Seahawks have 4 draft picks, a total of 4 draft picks. So this is pretty easy. You know, I do want to find the right fit for the teams and make sure I get the right guys here for the grade A mock for the Seattle Seahawks. We're going through draft order, every single team, even the teams that don't have a first-round pick. We're doing them. We're going to get through that, you know, by early next week, and we got plenty more draft content to get to, some live streams and a live stream during the draft. There it is, live. April 25th is day 1. We'll be live 6:30 p.m. Central Time. The draft starts at 7 that night. We'll be ready a little earlier on those nights, and basically live reactions, predictions when the picks are coming. Any trades will happen. We're going to talk that, analysis. We'll have videos right after the draft with grades as well, or the biggest winners. A lot going to happen here at the Goat House during the draft. Can't wait for that. Subscriber goals at 20K. We're getting there. Appreciate you if you subscribe to the channel. And clicking that like button, notification button will do some good as well. Let's get on the Seahawks first round. I've kind of had this for a while in a lot of mocks, and I'm keeping it. Byron Murphy is the Seahawks type of corner. He's got the technique down. He's a playmaker as well. The most pro-ready corner in this draft class. There's some other guys that I think have a big-time upside too. Maybe Greedy Williams is the guy too. But I like Byron Murphy for the Seahawks. He can play outside corner. He can play in the slot. Seahawks could use both. They can use either of that. So it's pretty much win-win here with Byron Murphy, and that's why I like him with the Seahawks. You know, there's people saying that the Seahawks need a safety real bad. I kind of liked what they got at safety. Honestly, I guess they don't have any big play guys, but they have quite a few guys. I expect Delano Hill is the guy that steps up this year. Tedrick Thompson was one of my guys in the draft. You know, he's got a lot of upside. They got Trey Flowers who can play, has experience at safety, and they played him at corner a lot. I like what they're doing. You know, they don't have the big name guys, but they can play. So I think they need a corner a little more than safety. Maybe that's my opinion. But that's the first round pick. Byron Murphy, again, can play slot or outside, whatever they need him to do. They can move him around if they need to. Can play man, can play zone. You know, the one weakness you wish he would be maybe put on a little more strength, a little more size, which he did in this offseason, which was good. But the technique is there. That's an obvious one. Next pick is the third round. I like Joe Jackson for the Seahawks a lot. You know, they need somebody opposite of Frank Clark, but they honestly need another guy too, I think, which they did draft Rasheem Green, which I like a lot. Last year, so you expect big things from him going forward, but you need somebody opposite of Frank Clark and a rotation guy, so Jackson and Green will battle for who's the starter and who's the rotation guy, which is very important in the pass rush, but Jackson makes a lot of sense at that DN spot opposite of Frank Clark, and then Frank Clark as of now only on that 1-year franchise tag, so you got to make sure you get somebody here. Maybe they'll try to trade for more picks. Maybe they can trade back with their first pick. Actually, I'm starting to think about that now because I'm not a huge fan of the corners, and I think the corner is one of the harder positions to play, maybe the hardest after quarterback, but so you would think teams would value it very highly, but I think teams are starting to value it less and less. You know, teams are just going to score on you whether you like it or not, and I think there's going to be more pass interference calls called, so I think it's more important to have the safeties these days to back up those corners. Starting to think about that right now. So maybe you can trade back with that first pick. You don't need to take a corner that early. You definitely need corners, but we'll see. Maybe gather a second-round pick somehow. That'd be interesting. But Joe Jackson I like a lot. Kind of became somewhat of a sleeper. You know, at this time last year when you're or maybe after last year's draft, people were already doing their way too early mocks for this year, 2019, and Joe Jackson was in the first round, late first round, so we see what he's capable of. So I think he'll be a third-round pick and a pretty darn good one. Next pick, Dalen Mack, I think fits at their D-tackle position there on the Seahawks. I think he's a Seahawks type of guy, I really do. They lost Shamar Stephen. They only had him for 1 year. I think this is kind of that replacement. They got a couple other guys that can play too, but they definitely need somebody else for that rotation. I think Mack fits their defense. He could possibly go round 3. Maybe surprised a little bit, but maybe not a total shocker if he went late round 2. But I think 3 or 4, when we gave the Seahawks Mack here in round 4 in the grade A mock. Best possible, but realistic. And with their last pick, it's a short one because they only have 4 picks here. The 5th round, Jamal Peters, corner from Mississippi State. A lot of upside for him. Very long, physical corner. You know, he's not getting enough talk either. I think he should go earlier in 5, but I think this is around where he goes. So this is kind of that. You know, back to the roots of the Seahawks, getting that big physical corner and work with him. So you got Byron Murphy, who's more the technician, more of the quick corner that can play outside or slot, and you grab another one that's going to be your outside guy. Maybe doesn't play a whole lot right away, but could, because I think they really need corners, because you got Griffin, and in this scenario you got Byron Murphy, and you need a slot guy. Losing Coleman, I know they're looking at some at the time of recording this. They're bringing in some guys for visits. But I think you need a bigger guy like this and Jamal Peters. So, and I think it's possible you can move him to safety. Maybe he can be if you really needed him to. I don't think you need to, but it could be another Cam Chancellor type guy. I think his measurables look like in today's NFL look like a safety, but he can play corner at a pretty good level in my opinion. I think he's better than a 5th round pick, but I think that's where he goes. So that's going to do it for the Seahawks mock. It was a quick one. I'm going to get through all these. I promise within, early next week should be done here. So we got plenty more to get to. Again, we're going to be live during the draft, a couple live streams before the draft. Check out our Twitter for updates, polls, and lots of NFL draft talk. There's a link at the top of the description for the Twitter. You're going to want to check that out leading up to the draft. That's going to do it for this one, though. Thanks for everyone's support. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.